Stadium had some rain earlier, as you well know, here in South Florida. Tonight's weather report presented by FPL, working for you every single day. It's humid, but it is clear and 82 degrees. And let's get to the sideline. Mike Cunha.
What's up, Goldie? Time now for your practice report, brought to you by Baptist Health. And let's talk about this joint practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Head coach Mike McDaniel said it may be one of his favorite practices he's had with Tua Tagovailoa in his 4 seasons. You know, he said in year 1 it was all about building up that confidence, and now it's trying to find the wrong. What that means is throwing adversity, not just at Tua, but the entire offense. Head coach Mike McDaniel told us that he'll get in cahoots with Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator, throw weird things at the Dolphins offense to kind of throw them off to see how they respond to that adversity. We'll see how all that's paid off starting tonight, guys.
Switch ends, please, men. Jacksonville.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. We see Tua and Zach Wilson sharing a little smile here. Jacksonville won the toss. They will receive, so we'll see the Dolphins defense start things. There's Tyreek Hill, along with a few other players nicked up like Jalen Wright, Devon Achane, Alec Ingold, not playing tonight. Tonight's broadcast is presented in high definition by Xfinity. Tyreek Hill looking forward to being ready for the regular season opener in 15 days in Indianapolis.
Well, he's got 2 weeks to be ready, and I think he's going to be anxious. I know everybody wants to see him and Waddle on the field together, and that's going to be something to behold. But look, these guys, we've got a lot of guys out here that are trying to find jobs and trying to hang on to what little hope they have of staying in this league. So it's a good night because you get to see the starters play. But I tell you what, it is going to be a tough night for some of those guys on the bench that are getting their last opportunity to play here at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, hoping to put something good on tape for everybody else. To listen to tonight's game in Spanish, enable the secondary audio programming or SAP button on your viewing device. SAP service are sponsored by Toyota of Hollywood. Now there's a look at Jake Bailey. He won the punter competition, so the mainstay stays. Ryan Stonehouse, who came with Craig Aukerman from Tennessee, the new special teams coordinator. He was let go, so it's Bailey's job. He had a really good game in Detroit last week, Bailey.
Really did, and I think he's been very consistent since he's been here, and I like the fact that they kept him here. He feels at home here, and I tell you what, I think he puts the ball. I think he's a little better at aiming, at getting the ball, direction of the ball, the direction of the punts, and maybe look, very small sliver there that got that job for him.
All right, he'll try the kickoff here, and puts one right to the goal line where Chandler Braithwaite comes out. Undrafted free agent of Elon College. And as the Dolphins special teams have done really throughout these preseason games, stopping the returner just short of that 30-yard line. It's where you want to be, so that's where the Jaguars will take over. They are not playing their starters. And John Wolford is their starting quarterback for this game tonight. Dolphins starters are out there on defense.
Zach Sealer, we get to see him with some of those young guys. Jordan Phillips. You're starting with Benito Jones here, Zeke Biggers, but Kenneth Grant's not going to play, so it's going to be interesting to see what we can do up here.
Storm Duck, Jack Jones on those corners, as mentioned, and competition there, and there's Chop Robinson getting free and taking down Wolford. And it's a preseason chop for number 44.
It didn't take long to get that going, huh? He went right past. This is just a look. We talked about these guys and how good of pass rushers they are. You got 4 good pass rushers in there, and it's tough to stop all of them. Someone's going to have a crease.
And Bo, as we talked to Anthony Weaver, he's kind of salivating. He's got a lot of versatile players, a lot of packages he can use.
Many packages, 3, 4. 2 guys down, linebackers all over the place. I think this is going to be a fun defense to watch.
So Chubb, Phillips, and Robinson all on the field together on that down. Jackson in at running back next to the quarterback Wolford on 2nd and long. And now we've got some movement. Dolphins were showing some bodies and bringing some heat, and that forced Jacksonville to jump.
There so you get a sack, and you force a penalty.
On defense, you've got Jordan Brooks not playing tonight. Neither is Kenneth Grant, the rookie out of Michigan. So Willie Gay Jr. is in there next to Tyrell Dodson, a middle linebacker.
An excitable Willie Gay Jr.
Always.
That guy's all over the field. I like this group. I like this group a lot.
It is energy personified. Now the Jaguars going in the wrong direction, back to their own 16 now. Little screen set up. Jackson's got it. Crossed the 20. And then he's actually ran into his own man and went down. Big collision with Trammell, his wide receiver, but that's a good gain for the Jaguars.
Dolphins defense gave him a little room to run. Willie Gay got up there and turned it in, but there was no one inside to make the play. And you can't give up those kind of yards, although they got third and forever to go here.
And got to get out to the 40-yard line for the first down. Wolford pressured, gets by Jones. Wolford on the move, and he's got the first down.
Well, these guys are coming out like sprinting up field. You know, it's you got to kind of settle down.
It's a first down.
You can't just can't run past them.
Needed 14, and that's exactly what the
After
quarterback got.
replay assist, the runner is short of the line to gain. It's fourth down.
Ah, okay, they'll back him up just inside the 40. All right. So, obviously, knee down. And the Jaguars will go for it. Jordan Phillips comes into the game, guy that's really shining, a 5th-round pick for Miami out of Maryland. He's gotten better and better as camp goes on.
He just pushes that pocket like immediately, forces the quarterback to find something. Let's see what we can do here. Big fullback or big back in the backfield.
Harris, the running back. They'll try the quarterback sneak, and Wolford should have it there. Pushes the pile forward. You know, as far as defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver,
It's first down.
You know, he talked about Jordan Phillips, how he stood out on him, his raw ability when he watched the tape. He's always pushing somebody back. He thinks the Dolphins may have a steal in Phillips.
No, I think so too. Look, he's made a lot of plays. He made a play last week in Detroit where he pushed the offensive lineman, flattened out, and caught a running back way out on the edge. And I don't even know how that guy got out that far.
So Jaguars first down at the 40. Wolford, the Jacksonville native, in at quarterback. He fires, and that's short and incomplete, intended for his wide receiver, Trenton Irwin.
We talked about Anthony Weaver with his defense and the things that he can do up front, just with the front, with the down linemen, all the twists they can do, because all those big guys are athletic. And once you start getting that going, it really confuses the quarterback, and they've got to make a decision. Am I going to get the ball out quick, or am I going to just, you know, go down and take the sack? But you're seeing a little bit of that right now.
Phillips stays in on the line next to Sealer. Chubb and Jalen Phillips there. And Bradley Chubb says not that time. Wraps up Harris for a loss.
Great recognition by Chubb. They just collapsed on his side. He just followed his guy down the line and just made a big tackle. You talk to Chubb, you can tell how anxious he is to get back after last year when he didn't get to play. He's almost salivating to get out there. And we talked to him the other day. Boy, I tell you what, he's ready and willing and able to have a real big year this year.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of confidence in Anthony Weaver, what he can do with the versatility and the players that can execute it. Another 3rd and long. Wolford's got time. Over the middle, tipped and incomplete. That was off the hand of Irwin. And the Dolphins defense gets off the field.
Let's play back there. You know, the Dolphins really in this game Jacksonville's not playing any of their starters. You know, they should have this opportunities here to do that. That was just a bad route, bad throw.
And should know Jason Marshall Jr. started as that slot player at corner, a defensive back in this game, the rookie out of Florida. Here's Malik Washington inside his own 10. Slips one tackle. Washington across the 20. Solid return for Malik. Prince made the tackle for the Jaguars. And that's where the Miami Dolphins starting offense will begin. Here's Washington. Good to see Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips on the football field for the Dolphins defensively. No score in this first quarter. The Dolphins get the ball for the first time. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Our starting lineups brought to you by your Southern Lexus dealers. That was last season. This is his 2nd start of the preseason. Now both Devon Achane, Jalen Wright out of the lineup tonight. So Tua's got Ollie Gordon, and he's looking to make some connections with Jalen Waddle. Tua likes playing in these preseason games. Get the feel, get everybody lined up. Nick Westbrook-Akine along with Malik Washington, the receivers. Little play action. Here's Malik with room. Flag comes in. Washington got the first down, but this may be coming back. Rayon Lane made the tackle for Jacksonville.
Well, it's a nice looking play. Got him out there in the flat with some blockers in front of him.
Ineligible receiver downfield on a pass, number 72. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
So that's on Jonah Savainaya, the rookie, the second-round pick. Dolphins have very high hopes for him. He's starting from day one.
Yeah, you know, he's a guy that he's going to make his mistakes, but he learns from his mistakes. Look, just goes down the field a little bit. Got to kind of hesitate. Just when that little drifting out, you know, and again, Joe, we've talked about this, Goldie. I think they're calling things pretty tightly in the preseason games, so these guys know what to do when the regular season begins.
Ollie Gordon, the second at running back. Tua trying to find him. It's tipped and it's incomplete. Oh, right there. Muhammad got the hand on it and nearly found it for the pick.
Yeah, that's got to be a missed assignment. That came too easy. I think Larry Borum collapsed down. Maybe should have stayed out there. So you got nobody making the block there. That's a missed assignment.
Borum's been in at right tackle throughout camp for Austin Jackson. Hopefully he'll be ready 2 weeks from now for the regular season opener against the Colts.
Yeah, it's boy, I'd say he's been on the shelf for a long time. He's going to have to get to work quick. We're talking about Austin Jackson to come in.
Tagovailoa quick over the middle. Washington has that. Breaks a tackle, gains a few more to the 27-yard line. Pickup of 9 yards on the play.
Malik Washington, you look at Taj Washington too. Both the Washingtons really were playing well this preseason. Were able to carve himself a spot in this wide receiver room, and you put Waddle and Tyreek and those guys there together. It's going to be pretty nice with Nick Westbrook-Akine too. That's going to be a pretty nice receiver group for Tua to throw at.
Yeah, Washington really coming on, year number 2 out of the University of Virginia. Reliable player. He's a guy Tua last preseason mentioned right off the bat. Guy that he likes. Tua steps up here, look out, pressured, and he is taken down. Danny Stringo makes the tackle.
Yeah, nobody open downfield, has nowhere to throw the football. Pretty decent blocking up front.
So Jake Bailey on to punt for the first time tonight. Dorian Singer back for the Jaguars to receive at his own 30. And he's pushed back inside the 25, and fair catch made there. And the Jaguars will get it back. No score from Hard Rock Stadium, first quarter. Football is back, Dolphins fans. That means now's your chance to see the Dolphins play at home this season. A small number of single-game tickets remain to see the Dolphins next month at Hard Rock Stadium, taking on Drake May and the Patriots in the home opener. And then week 4, the Dolphins will debut their new rivalry uniforms, Monday Night Football against the Jets. Visit MiamiDolphins.com/tickets to learn more. No score in this preseason finale. There's a look at Tyreek Hill up and down that Dolphins sideline. Dolphins stick with the corners, so Storm Duck, Jack Jones, and Jason Marshall Jr. at the nickel on defense. Wolford remains in at quarterback for the Jaguars. Second possession. Wolford rolling and throwing, completed. And quickly there on the tackle on Singer was Jack Jones. Now, Jason Marshall Jr. is an interesting story, Bo. A Miami kid, went to the University of Florida, had never played the slot, never played the nickel before. And Anthony Weaver and the coaches say, hey, let's see what he can do there. They like his size, they like his movement.
The rookie, well, when I first looked at him, when Anthony Weaver first looked at him, he's a little stout for a cornerback, but they showed that he could play cornerback. Then they moved him inside, which is a lot different from that cornerback because you don't have the sideline help there. So he's got to play inside, outside on these receivers. And they said he was up to the thing. The one thing that they were concerned about with him was his tackling. And they said once they saw one play on him, he kicking and pop somebody, they go, okay, that's all right. You can be all right in that spot. So I think they found a gem in this guy. They really, really like him in that secondary.
Yeah, kind of wondering, can he blitz? Can he tackle? Oh, yeah, he can. And the Dolphins, of course, with injuries in that secondary. And they're going to need, something we talk about with Tua and Mike McDaniel. They told these rookies, we need you now.
Yes.
Tua told it, you don't have time to be rookies.
Yep.
And it seems like a real good rookie class that the Dolphins have brought in.
Well, I think they understand it, and I think they're up to the task. Ooh. Well, this is
Wolford's got the first down, sliding again on a scramble.
Everyone went outside. You got the right in the middle. Nobody in the middle. It gives a quarterback a chance to step up. But going back to this rookie class, they want to be good right now. They want to be counted on right now, and you can see it in their attitude. You can see it in the way they practice. And it's it's, to me, I think it's I think the base with these young guys they've got over the last couple of years is really going to be stout for this team moving forward.
3 rookie defensive linemen, Grant Phillips and then Zeke Biggers as well. All in this year's draft for the Dolphins. Jaguars have it at midfield. And the give there is to travel around the end. And he bangs his way close to the first down sticks along the sideline.
Judon out there chasing.
And Duck finally ran him out of bounds. Storm Duck, who may be the #1 corner for the Dolphins. Everybody with this squad, players and coaches like Storm Duck a lot.
Somebody's got to recognize that earlier and get upfield. You can't just let the guy run out there for 10 yards and have open space.
Jaguars keep it on the ground at Jackson. Short of the first down. Willie Gay Jr. led the charge for the Dolphins.
Willie Gay is, that inside linebacker group, KJ Britt, Willie Gay, Dotson, Brooks, any 4 of those guys in that group could play and play well. And Willie Gay has been making plays all over in the joint practices. Now you see him in the games. Anthony Weaver's got
oh, look out. Wolford's going to get back and just hang on to it. So on 3rd and 1, the bad snap results in a big loss and 4th down.
First one to tag him. But speaking of that inside linebacker group, I think, when you talk to Anthony Weaver, he says, man, those guys, all 4 of those guys are guys that can, you put them in, you can trust them, and they're going to work. And Jordan Brooks, obviously the leader of that group, and kind of the guy that keeps everybody in check.
And Brooks doesn't say a whole lot, but he is a serious guy and has really become a leader on this team. Washington on another return. Had a good return again for Malik Washington. Got about 15 yards. And Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins offense back on here in the first quarter. Rookie Jonas Savaiinaea, number 72, and Big Pat Hall getting rave reviews at left tackle in his 2nd year now. Those 2 young men are going to have a big season for the Dolphins.
They're going to grow up together, and you talk about Savaiinaea. I mean, this guy came in, he's mature, he's got a temperament that he wants to learn and he wants to get better. He'll make a mistake, but he's going back and figuring out how to get the job done. And they talk about him being intense to the moment. He's kind of a cool guy when you talk to him, but he says once that ball's getting ready to snap, kind of the devil comes out.
Ollie Gordon bouncing outside. Look out, here comes the big man. He takes on a tackler and a gain of 5 on the play. Let's go down to the sideline. Mike.
The Dolphins had 10 draft picks going into April's draft. So McDaniel said we really valued those. So it just goes to show you how much we value Jonah in the draft by moving up to get him. McDaniel says he has top 5 focus of any player he's ever been around. He says he learns from every single snap. And of course, he's also endearing himself to his new teammates. He has jam sessions with Tua, Jalen Phillips. He is really not only making, turning heads on the field, but making an impression off the field as well.
Well done on the hangouts and the jam sessions. You like that? Tagovailoa pressured, and they've got him again. 2nd sack of the game. And that time it was B.J. Green.
Yeah, James Daniels just kind of got beat around the side. Got to pick that guy up. Got to get the help inside, not outside.
Hey AJ, we're gonna do.
But you know, speaking of Savai and I and Patrick Paul, they're two young guys. They're going to grow up together. You know, Patrick Paul did it last year. He got a lot of snaps last year, and it's going to take Jonah some time to be the guy he's going to be. You're going to kind of have to be patient with him a little bit. But I think his temperament's going to make him better, faster than most rookies would come in otherwise.
Well, again, pressure by Muhammad, who had that tipped ball earlier. So this Jacksonville backup defense, not playing their starters, effective against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and if you're Mike McDaniel, you've got to be pretty disappointed in what you've seen out of this offense. I mean, you really haven't seen continuity. You haven't seen protection. You know, you haven't had Tua be able to get back there and throw the ball on time, and that's something they worked on a long time this preseason.
Bailey gets good hang time. Singer back at his own 27. Trying to get free to the near side. The Dolphins are there. Tanner Connor in on the tackle. And we remain scoreless in the first quarter at Hard Rock Stadium. An 11-day road trip for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins in Chicago and Detroit. They went 1-0-1 in the two games, the tie at Soldier Field. Now trying to work on some things at home with the starters. Getting a pretty long look. You still have Chubb and Phillips in for the Dolphins. Benito Jones as well. And the corners remain the same. Wolford, flag comes in. That'll be on the Jaguars. He'll slide down. Jacksonville will be backed up. Final test before cutdown day in the NFL on Tuesday.
Illegal use of hands, offense number 78. It's a 10-yard penalty. Let's replay first down.
Right there gets a helmet. Once you get your hand wrapped up around that face mask and suddenly you push it up, yeah, it's always going to be called. And that's not, I tell you, it's not nice to have that done to you. You don't feel
Spoken like a guy trying to get to the quarterback. When you guys can move around out there and change positions, I mean, come on. They got to get something on that O-line, no?
Yeah. No, well, look. I mean, all the rules for offense. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, 100%. Trammell with a good gain, so they get that yardage back. You know, it's interesting. Talk about the cut-down day. Mike McDaniel, Bo, telling us in the 4 years as Dolphins coach, this is his toughest roster to make. Yeah,
well, it looks that way. I think it's set pretty much right now. Marshall missed a tackle there that really looked bad. I mean, he's got to, he's anxious. You know he wants to play well, especially at home. He's got to settle down and kind of get his feet balanced if he's going to make plays like that.
Harris with the carry. And met right at the line. K.J. Britt amongst those there. Jalen Phillips in on the tackle as well. Britt coming over as a free agent from Tampa Bay.
Well, that was a little bit of a Jordan Phillips and Benito Jones. Both of them just pushing them back, driving their offensive linemen down the line, giving running back had nowhere to go. And then the other guys just come and clean it up. 98 Dickerson's in there now.
And they bring some pressure, and Bradley Chubb's got him. Welcome back, Chubb.
There's a hold on Jalen Phillips and a sack on Chubb, and boy, that's got to feel good for him after what he endured last year. Tough when you're out, not playing, and he's making the most of it right here.
Yeah, Phillips met him right at the quarterback, and boy, having those two guys back, Phillips and Chubb, both off those injuries, it just changes everything for this Miami defense and what coordinator Anthony Weaver can do.
Well, he's got so many options with those guys, the linebackers, the outside linebackers, with what he can do, and changes whenever you want to make them. at the line of scrimmage.
No return. Flag came in on the play. There's Chubb and having a little bit of fun. He told the man, I love camp. I love being with the guys.
I'll tell you, he's looked good. Healthy, man. Everything I've seen from him is 100%.
Number 15 of the kicking team went out on his own. This is a 5-yard penalty, which will be added to the dead ball spot. It's first down, Miami.
So the penalty on Brayboy of the Jaguars. Tua Tagovailoa will stay in the game with the offense.
Yeah, they got to give him some protection up front, give him a little time, and the receivers, you got to get open. I mean, it's been a little bit raggedy here in the first 2 series.
Few too many free runs right into him.
You wonder how long Mike's going to have him in there. Maybe you say until you show me something that that's going to work. I might just kind of keep these guys out here a little bit.
Now we figured, 2 or 3 series, so obviously it's going to be on the higher end. So Ollie Gordon II, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, he was pretty emphatic talking to the offensive line when they came off the field.
Well, you can see, you had Borum had a play, Daniels, who hadn't practiced much and got full game time action. Every one of those guys is still trying to get back to where they need to be on opening day, and it may take a little time. They've got 2 weeks to do it.
Waddle and Washington on the near side. Now Washington goes in motion. Tua looking that way, has Waddle near midfield. That's a gain of 8 yards on first down.
There you go. Washington gets some of those defensive backs to move out. Nice to see Waddle down there. When we've seen him in practice, Waddle, he looks like the old Jalen Waddle playing well. And I think last year was certainly frustrating for him, not being able to be the guy he was the year before. But I think he's done a lot of hard work to make up for that.
Yeah, didn't get 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. Said, hey, take nothing for granted. That's what it taught me. Gordon bangs his way to midfield.
First down.
Should have the first down. He does.
Smiling Ollie Gordon, we saw him down on the sideline after that last series.
And he comes up limping a bit, and we'll get to the sideline.
This is the end.
6th-round draft pick.
First quarter.
As the first quarter comes to an end, no score, Dolphins and Jaguars. Well, the good news, Ollie Gordon II came right back off the sideline after hopping off. I know he's had a good preseason. I'm getting a lot of text.
Yeah.
Should I take him in the fantasy, in the rookies, and what's going on with them?
So that's how you grade guys these days, right?
When they're getting steam with that, there goes Gordon. And he gets to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 5 on first down. The Doak Walker Award winner at Oklahoma State 2 years ago.
All-American. We saw him on the sideline, Goldie, as I was just talking. Not happy with the offensive line. As a rookie, he walked up right in front of all those guys and kind of gave them the, what to? You guys need to start getting your butts in gear and get something going. And for a rookie to come and do that, that says a lot about, I call him smiling Ollie Gordon, but he wasn't smiling at that point.
First 2 preseason games, 18 carries, 88 yards. Play action to him. Tagovailoa looking downfield for Eskridge, but that's incomplete. Tua had to hurry it just a little bit there.
Well, I think he knew they were coming in. He had to get rid of it. He just tried to throw it out there, maybe make sure they weren't able to intercept the ball. But look, the Eskridge is another guy that's that's been really having a good camp. These 2 receivers, these receivers that aren't the starting 2, really have shown very, very well. Made it tough on any. They're gonna knock some of these guys out that've been here around for a while off their spots.
Yeah, Tagovailoa likes the way Eskridge responds. He had a muff fumble in Detroit, came back. And he's a veteran, 5th year. College at Western Michigan. That's tipped and incomplete. Tagovailoa is looking for Tanner Connor in the tight coverage, and it's 4th down.
Threw it low. I'm not sure if it did. I don't think it skipped.
And they're going to go for it. So likely, we assume this is the final series for Tua. And they want to see if they can get something done here. So 4th down and 6 at the Jacksonville 46.
Wouldn't be surprised if they kept that left side of the line and Paul in there. I know Savaianai is going to stay, but keep Paul in there with the work. Keep working on it a little bit.
On 4th down, Tua over the middle, complete. First down, Malik Washington. He got to the sticks and then sat down and made the catch.
First down.
Hey, Tua Tagovailoa trusts Malik Washington, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. Likes him a lot. And why not? I mean, that's all he's been doing all season long, all preseason, is catching balls like that and being in the right place for him to throw the ball to him.
So the drive continues inside the Jaguars' 40-yard line. Gordon at running back. There he is, left side, breaks through, gets to the 30 and gets the first down.
And you see that he just gets the ball, takes a step, and he plants. Once he plants that foot, he accelerates.
It's second down.
They mark him just short. The knee was down. Yep. And with the size, Bo always seems to get a couple extra yards at the end of the run.
Well, he runs tough. He runs fast. He catches the ball well. He's got every attribute that you want. And he's a big, tall guy. Got a bright future in front of him. And hopefully it's always here.
They give it to him again. He's got the first down that time. Pushes the pile. Gain of 4. Cole on the tackle for Jacksonville.
Look at that running back room. You've got obviously got Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon,
First down.
Alec Ingold. That's a you got some mix up. Some guys can mix up. I think Jalen Wright's got to start playing a little bit better than we've seen so far. But if he can get back to where he was last year, early in the year, I think this could be a nice little addition.
Yeah, Achane and Wright both nicked up, so the rookie Gordon II, the featured back, 6'2", 225. He's got to work out in these preseason games. Tagovailoa gets rid of it. He's got Washington at the 20. Malik Washington, nice move to the 10, the 5, he's in. Nice. Touchdown, Dolphins. Malik Washington, 25 yards.
Well, someone left their gear out in the field right there when he made that break. That was a heck of a move on him. Just froze him like a deer and just went around. That's what we've been waiting to see, right? Tua gets out of the pocket. It's a nice throw, and there you go. Goodbye.
Yeah, Chad Muma got faked out there by Washington, who continues, really is strong the entire offseason. Yeah. They talked about him, Bo, and OTAs and everything that Malik Washington can do. He blocks, he runs,
kick
he catches.
Returns.
Yeah, their number 1 return man. Yeah. And because it's preseason, they'll give a little chance here and go for 2. Haven't seen Jason Sanders, the kicker. Remember in the game, Jake Bailey kicked off. Tua's got Brown. He juggles in. Has he got it? He's got it. 2-point conversion. Farrell Brown.
Nice. Look at the tight end across the field. So you would spread out a little bit. You know, it's nice to see these tight ends. We need to get these tight ends involved in it. And I'd like to not see him juggle that ball a little bit. He might have stepped out.
Good one.
Yeah, he got it. Oh.
They gave it to him on the field. It's 8-zip at Hard Rock Stadium.
Before they get back.
Touchdown and 2-point conversion for the Dolphins. The scoring drive brought to you by Nissan. Tua Tagovailoa took him 9 plays, 61 yards, 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Malik Washington, a big part of the drive. Dolphins converted that 4th down. It results in a touchdown. And, you know, this year's something new. That entire Dolphins sideline on their feet for kickoffs. And, again, we haven't seen Jason Sanders, the kicker. So Jake Bailey on that kickoff. And Brayboy got free for a return, and he got to the 40-yard line. Time now for an update on one of our position breakdowns. We take you to Mike Cunha with his take, sponsored by Hard Rock Bet, Florida's only legal sportsbook. Mike.
Here now with Dolphins linebacker Jordan Brooks. First of all, Jordan, to see guys like Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb all in the field back together again. For you, how did you take that in?
it's great to see, man. And they balling too, so just getting them back in the mix. They look healthy, they look strong, they look fast. Gives me the most confidence to go out there and play with them dudes.
Everyone's told us this offseason how much of a leader you are and that when Jordan Brooks speaks, they listen. So I want to give you the floor right now. What have you seen out of the growth of this team from the first day of training camp through that long road trip and now finally here we cap it off tonight in the final preseason game?
I think the biggest thing I've seen is the chemistry. And it's been real. It's been organic. It's been natural. All the way from OTAs until now. But I felt like the trip, honestly, looking back at it, and, you know, further on down the road, I think that might be the best thing that could have happened for us as a team. Going into some conditions where it was challenging, being 10 days away, nobody's ever been away that long in training camp, having to adjust to a new schedule, wake up every day, got to go compete, get some good teams. And so I think through the midst of that, man, that really was beneficial for our team. So I would say the chemistry, man.
How much are you looking forward to week one?
I can't wait, man. Right now, we're trying to deal with this game and stay where our feet is. But once this is over with, we'll turn our focus to that.
Jordan, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
Mike, thanks so much. Jordan Brooks, the words of Mike McDaniel. He is a doer. Let's talk man of action. And you know, Bo, when they do that vote, he's going to be a captain of this team.
There's no question about that. There's going to be two of him first, and he'll certainly be the next guy to come in and the captain.
New quarterback in for the Jaguars, Seth Hennigan. A completion there, but Cam Smith getting in there, and then Butler trying to swipe that ball away. So we get a look at Cam Smith, the guy that's battling to make this team at that corner spot. Pretty high draft pick a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think he's going to squeeze in. It didn't look like it early on, but he got back, started playing when we're in Detroit. You know, you got Chop Robinson coming free again, hitting the quarterback. You know, someone's got to, the way he's played at the end of last year and the way he's playing now, you better have someone blocking. You can't give him a free run. But when you talk about Cam Smith, you know, they have high hopes for him. He just hasn't quite got there, and hopefully he's figured it out.
And Kendall Sheffield, Ethan Bonner not in tonight, both banged up. Bonner got injured in the Lions game last week.
Yeah, I think he'll probably land on IR for a while.
Hennigan, the undrafted free agent of Memphis, in at quarterback. That's a completion of Trammell. Isaiah Johnson pushed him out of bounds, but that's good for a Jacksonville first down.
And Johnson, one of those guys that's, you know, just kind of hoping to catch in there here. You know, he's kind of on that borderline. There's a lot of guys on this team that are, you know, that are really good players, but there's a little better players in front of them. But again, like we say all the time in these games, put it on tape. Everyone's going to look at it, and maybe you find a job somewhere else.
And Johnson, a guy who expect to play a little safety. He's a corner, but play a little safety in this game tonight. Get a look at him there. On the ground to Harris, and he breaks free up the middle and gets a first down, a pickup of 12 before Channing Tindall made the tackle.
First down.
Yeah, too much right at the line of scrimmage. That just broke down, and that big back is barreling through there.
Dolphins have gone to their backups now on the D-line.
Tindall got a little wake up right there. Hey, coming at you. He's, you know, Tindall's been around for a while, and you know, I think he's kind of right on that, right in the edge right there.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys that linebacker position, especially as they picked up Judon outside anyway. But you mentioned those four inside. You know, Donson and Brooks, the starters, then Gate Jr. and Britt.
Yeah.
Hennigan to throw. And slings that one out in the flat to the tight end, Herbert. KJ Britt on the tackle, gain of 7. And that linebacker position is one of a lot of competition for this team.
Yeah, especially inside Jordan Brooks. Those guys, Tindall. You know, he's, you know, you got Cameron Good. He's going to be on the team because he's a special teams guy. I think Grayson Murray's one of those guys that's really on the edge, and then Channing Tindall, I think he's got to have a really good game tonight in order to see that he's going to get a spot on the roster.
Yeah, that front seven, safety, wide receiver, you know, depth anyway. Still, decisions to be made. You know, Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins get a flag here.
before the false start and before the delay of game, timeout Jacksonville.
All right. So
their first timeout of the half.
they snuck in the timeout before they committed a couple of penalties. That's the way to work it out with 2 weeks to go until the regular season, Liam Cohen. Football's back. And the Dolphins will open the regular season in Indianapolis on September 7th. Here they've got an 8-0 lead on the Jaguars in the preseason finale. Handing it in, the Jaguars have a 2nd and 3 at the Dolphins' 34. They give it a travel. He gets by Murphy. And then the spin on Johnson. And finally the Dolphins able to take him down inside the 25.
You know, it seems like in the last few games the Dolphins are tackling pretty well. A little bit looser, you know, and you know, I know guys are anxious, guys are excited, guys are trying to maybe do a little more than they could do, but you got to get guys down. You can't let them get around the corner, and you know, got to contain them and tackle them, and you can't arm tackle at this point.
I know on certain terms Anthony Weaver was not enthused by the tackling last year, so that had to be a point of emphasis this year. Harris again, and they get a push that time. There's Elijah Campbell coming up from that safety position. There's a veteran safety, special teams.
Grayson Murphy getting in on that one too. Matthew Butler.
Weaver in his 2nd year as Dolphins defensive coordinator. We had to ask him about the workouts. He's still going about 4 days a week. I mean, I told him he looks like he can still play. He goes, no, not the case. Out of the flat too much for Trammell. That's incomplete. You know, Weaver said his wife, you know, played at 290, so she's wondering who's this guy. You know, he's slimmed down.
Yeah, he's trimmed down.
For Carvine done your way, you got to get to Gunther. So Weaver's defense.
It's not hard to work. It's not hard to work out when you got a weight room like the Dolphins have out there. You know what I mean? It's not like going to the hotel we were at down in Detroit. You know.
But either way, you got to walk into the room and get to work.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. What a beautiful facility they've got right across the way here at Hard Rock Stadium, top to bottom. And again, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Trammell. Jason Marshall Jr. there in coverage.
Right inside of that nickel. They really like him. I think he's certainly carved himself a spot here.
That's one Trammell would like to have back.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the Jaguars will attempt a field goal. It'll be a 43-yarder. Seems like an automatic for Cam Little, who hit a 70-yarder early in the preseason.
70 yards, my God.
Unreal. And he nails that one. Jacksonville is on the board. It's an 8-3 Dolphins lead in the preseason finale. Minutes of South Florida's biggest stories, breaking news, next weather, and community journalism you trust. When it's 5 p.m., it's time for CBS News Miami. Jaguars went 10 plays, 37 yards, just under 6 minutes to get the little field goal to get on the scoreboard. D. Eskridge, Malik Washington, both deep. Line drive, and here's Eskridge. Has room at the 30, and he's upended at the 32-yard line. Let's get to tonight's trivia question, brought to you by Sell to Bobby. Now, the Miami Dolphins have made 5 Super Bowl appearances in team history, winning 2 of them. 28 teams have made at least 1 appearance in the Super Bowl. Can you name the 4 teams that have never played in the Super Bowl? All right, you can think about that for a little while. The guy next to me played in a couple of Super Bowls, Mr. Bo Camper. Zach Wilson now in a quarterback for the Dolphins. And you know, we were talking about that training facility that the Dolphins now have as we get a look at Wilson for the first time in this game. And out to Taj Washington trying to make the team. That's a solid play and a pickup. But I got to get to the story, Bo. You told me earlier in the preseason, all our travels together, you walked into the weight room. What were Bob Kuchenberg and Manny Fernandez doing? This is how the game has changed.
Well, all we had was a little old Universal gym, and it was in like a little brick, you know, maybe a 10 by 10 square. And I said, hey, where's the weight room? So bring me out there. I look in, and Bob Kuchenberg was on the bench, and he had his feet on the wall because you couldn't lay flat because the room wasn't big enough. He had every weight in the stack. There goes Ollie Gordon again. He had every weight in the stack on the, you know, with the pin under it. He had Manny Fernandez sitting on the handle. So he's lifted all the weights, and he's got Manny on the handle because they didn't have enough weights for them to lift. So that was a little bit different than what they got. You know, Kenneth Grant, we talked to Kenneth Grant, we talked about his visit here. And he said, you know, they said they had the A1, the #1 facility, and he said, you know, it was actually really true, you know. So
well,
it doesn't go unnoticed.
Hey, Cooch, how much did you bench? I don't know. What does Manny Fernandez weigh? That's what I benched. Here's Wilson throwing again. Eric Ezekama. The completion into Jacksonville territory.
Yeah, Eric Ezekama's kind of bounced back from last year. He had a pretty good training camp here. But I don't think it's enough, especially with that room that they've got right now with Tyreek coming back, obviously, and the two Washingtons, what they're doing. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it seems like D. Eskridge is going to be the fifth guy, right? With the return possibilities. Then you got Taj Washington in there, and Ezekama battling.
Westbrook, Akani, got him in there.
Wilson, plenty of time. Deep middle, incomplete. He overshot Taj Washington, who was open. There's that receiver depth. So you've got that top four, including Westbrook, Akine, and Malik Washington. And then you're looking at 5 and 6.
Well, look at Theo Weiss, what he did the game he had last week. Ezekama's been around. A.J. Henning. So I think that's, you know, I think those guys are the guys that, you know, I don't know if anyone can crack the top 6 guys that they've got right now.
Taj Washington, Eskridge, both in there at the moment. 3rd and 4 for Wilson over the middle. There's D. Eskridge hit it out of his hands. That's incomplete.
Yeah, that's just a drop. Hits him in the chest. It's one of those balls you got to catch with your hands out. But nice throw by Wilson. Stood in the pocket really tall.
Yeah, that was right there. They'll go for it on 4th.
Good ball. You can't let it hit your shoulder pad. You hit your shoulder pads, anything can happen.
Eskridge has that speed game. Jacksonville brings the blitz. The throw complete. Taj Washington, first down, Miami.
You're talking about Ollie Gordon. That play right there shows you can block too.
That's a good pickup, isn't it?
Upends the guy. I can do it.
And that's something Mike McDaniel talked about a couple weeks ago with Gordon. How does he play without the ball in his hands? So that's a big play for him. So second time tonight, Dolphins convert on 4th down. Last time resulted in a touchdown. And here's Gordon to carry. Pushes the pile for a few on 1st.
You know, I don't think we've seen it be pushed backwards. You know, he may not get many yards there, but momentum was taking him forward. Where he's been a nice surprise.
Back when 23, when he won that Doak Walker Award, he had more than 1,600 yards. More than 1,000 of those yards were after contact. Well, maybe got away from that a little bit last year, he said, and he's trying to initiate contact, use his size again. Ezekama. They pick up a few on 2nd down. B.J. Green on the tackle for the Jaguars. It'll be 3rd.
Taj Washington trying to give him a little block, but I don't think that's what he does best. We've got the second line in too.
So they don't have to run a play here, and it looks like they'll just let it go down to the 2-minute warning. Zach Wilson has him on the move at the Jacksonville 32-yard line. Wilson's first year, Dolphins backup quarterback.
This is a 2-minute warning.
Second overall pick in the draft in 2021. And they'll have a 3rd and 6 to go when we come back. Raising money for cancer research, just incredible.
I can remember when that thing started, and you know, there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people working on it, and there was $100 million that broaching that, and it's just rolling. It gets bigger and bigger every year, and they get a ton of people. They're doing everything, anything you can do that they'll you know, the support that they get from the community, support that the Dolphins give, and the effort that the Dolphins staff and organization puts out to bring that in. It's really one of the great events, probably in the entire National Football League.
And #1 fundraiser.
Yep.
Ollie Gordon got the first down with another good run. Wilson, little pump fake on the move, and he'll take it out of bounds. Gained 3 yards on the scramble with 1:11 to go in the first half.
Got pretty good protection. Keon Smith in there, Braden Daniels, Daniel Brunskill, Josh Preby, and Ryan Hayes doing a pretty good job, giving them some time to throw the ball.
And Dolphins still have Andrew Meyer, Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg out with injury, so some decisions to be made on that offensive line. Will those players be ready in 2 weeks? We expect Jackson to be starting at that right tackle spot.
You'd like to see that happen.
Wilson, quick pop over the middle, and that's broken up. He was looking for D. Eskridge. Chad Muma there in coverage.
Yeah, he had pretty nice coverage on that. Eskridge's got to find a way to get open and block the guy back. Maybe come back to the ball a little bit. Pretty good defensive play, broken the ball really well.
Dolphins 1 for 5 on 3rd downs in the game. They're 2 for 2 on 4th. Wilson is pressured, trying to get away. He can't. And a sack on the play. Jack Kaiser, the rookie out of Notre Dame. And that'll push him back. Now, remember, we haven't seen the kicker, Sanders. We're not sure what went on with Jason Sanders, but Jake Bailey is going to come on for the long field goal attempt.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're trying to get Tanner Connor completely across the field, and Wilson tried to buy some time, just couldn't get his foot up. So you're looking for Connor coming across the field. Got to find a way to get that ball out of the pocket.
So the punter, Bailey, will try a 51-yard field goal. Quinn Ewers, rookie out of Texas, the quarterback, will hold. Joe Cardona is the new Dolphins long snapper. Good snap, but the kick flutters and misses.
The kick is unsuccessful. Let's snap from the 41.
Kind of kicked it like you think a punter would kick it, right?
Well, he's laughing. Jake knows, hey, when it really counts, I'm not going to be doing that.
Well, we've seen him kick the ball off. We've seen him do that, but sitting on a tee and you don't have a bunch of madmen running at you.
And that's a long one, 51. Yeah. I mean, it would have been perfect from 31. I think they're having a good smile. Jalen Waddle's having a laugh. Mike McDaniel as well.
Well, speaking of Bob Kuchenberg, he was our backup kicker if Garrow ever went down. So.
Was he? If Yepremian was down, Kuchenberg
was the man.
That's amazing.
He always carried a square-toe shoe out there with him.
Movement in the Jacksonville.
Just in case.
Ball start. Everybody but the snapper. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Another solid explanation from the official.
Yeah. Maybe that's maybe they've got a new rule for these guys to be a little more transparent, I guess.
Now, did Kuchenberg ever actually kick? Did it ever happen?
No.
No. Preseason? Nothing.
I think we'd have gone for it. I don't think that was the coach's best choice.
Shula would have looked back and seen him and said, okay, just go for it.
Yeah.
Trammell, who's had a very active first half at receiver, gets those yards back, lost on the penalty. Jaguars only have one timeout left in this first half. Hennigan, the undrafted free agent of Memphis, and a quarterback.
Bell got some pressure in there.
Yeah, completion outside. Tyndall made the tackle on the tight end Morris. And now looks like Jacksonville will use that timeout.
Timeout Jacksonville. Their third and final of the half.
Right.
30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 31. Thank you.
There's a look, Bob Kuchenberg's name and number. What a great player for so many great Miami Dolphins teams.
Well, you got your trivia question. You know, Bob Kuchenberg's another trivia question. The only Dolphin to have ever participated or been at every Super Bowl that the Dolphins played in. 5 Super Bowls.
Wow.
He was part of the team, yeah.
Good call. They're still having fun over there on the sideline.
You got offensive linemen and defense. I can kick, coach. I can kick. Let me get in there.
Everyone's trying to be a holder as well. Hennigan pressure. Oh, Bell got a hand on him but missed. The flag is down on the play. Now they take him down at midfield.
Got to be a holding.
And it looks like it may be on the Dolphins.
Defense.
Yeah, it came from the secondary.
Holding. Defense number 37. 5 yards will be added to the end of the play, and it's an automatic first down.
Now that's on Isaiah Johnson. By the way, speaking of the Super Bowls, Mike McDaniel's been in 2 Super Bowls as an assistant. 2016 with Atlanta, 2019 with the Niners. The 2 years before, no playoffs. The Falcons were 8-8. The 49ers were 4-12 the year before they made that Super Bowl.
Yeah. He was lucky charm there.
It really is year to year in this league.
But it does tell you, how quickly you can turn a team around in this league. You know, the one thing that we've known over the last year, the teams, there's about a 40 to 45% turnover in every team in this league. So, there's that opportunity to go from, the bottom of the barrel to the top of the heap.
Hennigan with the spike at the 40, and they'll give a try here on a long field goal.
Not so long for this fella.
No, not for Cam Little. I mean, this is a short one. He hit from 70 earlier in the preseason. The kick heard round the NFL.
I'm not quite going to call it a chip shot.
Well, he's going for 59 here. And anytime that holder is on that Dolphins logo at midfield, it's a long kick.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Probably bringing out an 8-iron for this one, though. Not the driver.
Little from 59.
Distance.
My goodness. I mean, that would have been good from 70 for sure, and maybe more. He's smiling all the way.
Yeah.
What a weapon.
He's enjoying it.
2 field goals for Little. Our score at halftime, the Dolphins 8 and the Jaguars 6. Stay with CBS Miami as we send it back to our news studios with Chelsea Jones. The latest news and weather. Trish Christakis will profile one of who's in contention for this year's Nat Moore Trophy. Mike Kim and I will be back with the FPL halftime report and the second half of action after this news update.
Sharper, they had their starting offensive line that they're getting, and trying to get together with everybody. But, it was just, it seemed hurried. It never seemed like he really got into a rhythm. He was able to make some completions, but I think we all were looking for a little bit. Now, he did have the one drive where he was able to push the ball down the field, got a nice score, nice touchdown. And so that worked out with Washington and making plays. Washington's been doing pretty well this game. But really, I think if you go in as a whole in this halftime, I think all the coaches would have said, hey, we expect a little bit better than that on the offense.
Yeah, Malik One taking advantage of Tyreek Hill perhaps not being available.
Yep.
Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. I know Dolphins fans, exciting seeing Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips back in there tonight.
Yeah. Didn't take long to see what that pass rush was going to be, right? you got Chop Robinson right off the bat coming up and getting the sack and getting things going. And getting to do his little chop dance back there. And so we did see that they could rush the passer. I think there was some, as the game went, as the first season, or as the half went on, I think you saw a little more sloppy tackling in some of this. But I think over the course of this preseason, the 2 other games we've had, I thought the tackling was really good. Maybe a little bit left, maybe a little bit not as much. But again, this is maybe the first time you had all the first unit out there. They've got to find out how they play together, and time will heal that.
All right, those are FPL halftime highlights. Good to see the fellas out there. Let's get to our stats from the first half. Pretty even there, no turnovers. Our halftime stats brought to you by FPL. Let's get down to the field. Mike and Mike, Cunio with McDaniel.
Here now with head coach Mike McDaniel. Coach, I know you always like to see how your team responds to adversity. What'd you like of that first string offense to come out in that third drive and put that touchdown drive together?
Well, I prefer not to have the start we did, but like everything, you want to see how people respond, so I was happy that we finished the right way, overcoming a start that we weren't happy with.
Obviously, there's a lot of young players trying to make a name for themselves in this game in particular, but Ollie Gordon, a couple big blocks, a couple big runs. What do you like how the young back came out, especially with a couple of vets down?
I think he did a great job executing all of his assignments when he didn't have the ball, and he ran hard. And I'm as excited for all the guys, all the young players for the second half. Some careers will be made, and we look forward to watching.
Coach, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mike Cunio and Mike McDaniel, and there's a look at 2, and Ollie Gordon, the second, another guy that's making his way, but with the injuries and what he's done in the preseason, about 5 yards a pop, it looks like he's got a roster spot.
I think he certainly does have a roster spot, and unfortunately Alexander Madison went down early, and that gave the opportunity to Ollie Gordon, and I tell you, he's taken full advantage of it. We've seen everything from him now. You see him blocking at the line of scrimmage. You see him running with power, and and he gets in the open space. He can put him up and lay him down. And again, you can't overlook the fact that he catches the football well and runs well after the catch. So I think he's going to be a great addition to that running back room with Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, those guys, and what they can do.
26 carries, 131 yards in the 3 preseason games combined for Ollie Gordon, the second 6th-round pick out of Oklahoma State. To listen to tonight's game in Spanish, enable the secondary audio programming or SAP button on your viewing device. SAP services tonight sponsored by Toyota of Hollywood. Certainly the hope is Devon Achane is ready for the Colts game, the regular season opener in a couple of weeks. The mainstay, the #1 running back, about 1,500 yards last year. Dolphins will get the football to receive this, start the second half. Now Eric Ezekama and A.J. Henning, the return men. We saw Malik Washington quite a bit in that first half. The Eskridge as well. So final half of the 2025 preseason begins. And Henning is sent all the way back for, say, the fairly rare touchback.
Yeah, very, very rare. We haven't seen much. You don't want to have that touchback. It's kind of an easy 35 yards for you on that.
Am I wrong on that? Could something be fairly rare, or is it just rare or not? I don't know.
Well,
I'm not a wordsmith.
Well, it's rare that you're not saying, you don't have things to say. So maybe I can put that in there. How about that?
All right. Ball's going to the 35-yard line. That's where the touchback is now.
All the starters taking their shoulder pads off, ready to just kind of watch the rest of the game.
Yeah, Mike Boone in at running back, so Ollie Gordon's night apparently done. Wilson still in at quarterback. Boone is met right at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Lovely, the tackle. So Boone and Aaron Shamplin, the only other 2 running backs with Achane and Wright out tonight, and Gordon being that other player.
Yeah, I think they're only going to keep 4 running backs, and that includes Alec Ingold in that group.
So you think the 3 running backs and the fullback, and that's it?
I think that's it. Yeah,
okay.
I do. I really do. Mm-hmm. Shampkins hasn't been around that long. He's been a week week or two since he's been there. Really not a lot of time to show much, and I don't think Mike Boone has done enough to earn a spot.
Yeah, both those players picked up last week. Chris Myrick made the catch there on the throw by Zach Wilson.
Wilson throws and gets a nice one in there. He looks pretty calm in the pocket. I think looked better last week, and let's see what he looks like in this half. Kind of got a little hurried early in the second quarter, but I think when he comes out of the huddle, comes out from the locker room and gets to the huddle by himself, let's kind of see how he takes his team down the field and how he looks in the pocket.
Well, the Jaguars are challenging that, and you know, I guess what you're talking about, Bo, is not unexpected with Mike McDaniel saying, hey, it's going to take some time.
Jacksonville is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
All right, they say it was incomplete, the Jaguars. They'll take a look at it. But Zach himself saying it's a lot to learn in this offense, different from what he's done in the past.
And look, like Mike himself, he says, hey, look, my verbiage in the huddle for a quarterback is a lot. It's a lot to learn. And then you've got to learn the steps. And then you've got to know what, you got the receiver steps. So it's a lot to handle.
All right, they'll have the review on the Myrick catch when we come back. Challenge unsuccessful. Chris Myrick did make that catch. So the Jaguars lose the timeout. Dolphins have a 3rd down and 5 at their own 40. Myrick, second stint with the Dolphins.
We're starting to see clarity in this roster, I think, in this game, and certainly I think there's no surprise that quarterback position Tua, then Zach will be the number 2 guy, Quinn Ewers will be the 3rd guy, and there's been some people that thought maybe Quinn would creep up there, but it's pretty clear right now that that's not going to be the case.
Zach Wilson was a direct target of the Dolphins in free agency. Pass complete to Taj Washington. That's good for a 1st down. Slaughter in coverage. Wilson spent last year with the Broncos after those few years with the Jets as the number 2 overall pick. Never played for Denver last year.
Yeah, and a little bit of a reclamation project here for Mike McDaniel with him. And I think he's the perfect coach to do it with his temperament.
Boone gets the carry. Not much doing, gain of only a couple. But, a lot of it's going to hinge, as we've said every year, on Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy. 2 years ago he did. Last year only played 12 of the games, and the Dolphins really struggled when he wasn't in there. Yeah,
and you saw what happened when your quarterback that you thought was ready wasn't ready to play, and then you started, getting this guy in and that guy in, and it really turned into a disaster. But I think everybody feels a little better about the structure of where it is right now, and I think a lot of people still, feel really good that Tua is going to be able to stay healthy. And
yeah, nice catch by D. Eskridge. We talked about Tua saying, hey, D. Eskridge, he likes his response, so he had a drop earlier in the game and comes right back there with a good one in traffic.
All these quarterbacks seem to like to throw the ball to him, right? You see him in practice, you see him in the joint practices, you see him in the games. These quarterbacks, they find somebody comfortable that they like. They'll come back to him over and over and over.
Gain of 21. And the Dolphins have it at Jaguars 30. Wilson, quick, Washington. And a good gain there on 1st down. He got 6 yards. Ethan Downs finally made the tackle. Back to Tua. Last 3 years, the Dolphins' win percentage is .588 when he is the starting quarterback. Yeah,
and look, he knows that. We talked to him this week in the production meeting, and he knows job one is to be there, and he knows what happens when he's not, and I think he's ready for it, and I think he's kind of gone through, how he wants to play the game, especially in situations where maybe he's got to run, maybe he's got to throw the ball into the ground and be safe, know when to be safe. Doesn't mean he's not going to run any, but he's going to run at the right times, and when he does, he's going to find a way to get to the ground if he has to.
There's some of those numbers with Tua and without. He also talked about the big change this year, Bo, not being so results-driven as a team. It's about the process. Do the right things every day. What do you think about him over these years becoming a bigger leader on this team.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, he's been here for a while now. You know, I mean, so he's a solid veteran, and he's seen what works and what doesn't work. And I think, like I said, I think over the last couple of years, his leadership role on the field in that pocket has become better and better. And look,
Wilson goes down.
Somebody came free.
Yeah, Abdullah, South Florida man, likes that sack. Back home.
Comes from. Just came from outside, came up the field.
Yeah, untouched.
Yeah. You know, it's hard on the quarterback when nobody puts a hand on an outside rusher, especially if you're trying to roll that way.
They'll go on the ground with Boone to get some of that yardage back inside the 25. You know, I like, you know, some of the comments that Tua's made, even the offseason at the OTAs. He brought up, you know, talking about the team and the development with himself and Mike McDaniel. He said, "Are you tired of what's happened the last 5 years?"
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good comment by Tua.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just, you know, we talk about Mike in the changing, you know, process of this team, and I think he found a niche where he can be, you know, he can be hard on the team and demanding on the team, but still being that kind of guy that Mike is. You know, he's, you know, it's, look, if I'm talking to you, if I'm criticizing you, it's only because I want to make you better. And you know, teams can take it one way or another. You can take it as, this guy doesn't like me or what, but I think he's got the guys in here that say, okay, look, I'm with you. I'll get better, and then he comes back and says, see, I told you. So it feels a lot better than it has in the last couple of years. And I think Mike and this team and Tua have made some really good strides over the summer.
Now the Dolphins going for it on 4th and 16 now. Again, we haven't seen Sanders, the kicker, in the game. Wilson, deep middle, as it comes, got it. First down and goal to go, Dolphins.
Not sure, he's got an in cut, and he puts it right up in the air. You like to get that receiver that can go up and get it. Ezekama did that. Nice pass, nice throw, nice protection.
Gain of 17 on 4th and 16.
I'm going to tell you, this offensive line, a lot of these guys aren't going to be here, but they're giving them pretty good protection. You know, other than the guys that last guy that slipped out there with no one blocking him.
Kenai Lovely made the tackle. Zach Wilson with a good throw, pressing Tua and Tyreek on the sideline. Got it at the Jaguars 7. Boone on the carry outside. He's got the edge. He's got the end zone. Touchdown, Dolphins.
Well, that was just individual effort, you know. Took it out of the corner. Showed he could put some speed on it. You know, those guys, Boone and Champlin, you know, came here late, but both of them have shown a little bit of spark.
A good block by Hayden Rucci at tight end on that right side as well. And now second time for a touchdown as Boone dabs it up with Hill and Gordon. Dolphins will go for the 2-point conversion. But Myrick split out at the bottom of the screen. Champlin will split out as well with 3 wide receivers. Wilson's got some choices, but we get the flag before the snap. And they'll move him back.
False start, number 7 offense. We'll replay the try.
That's on Taj Washington.
Jumped a little bit. You know, this is good work. You know, you certainly like to have your kicker available to you, but since it's not, I think this is good work for Zach in this situation, because you just don't treat it like it's not an extra point. It's just you're down in the red zone and you want to get the ball in the end zone.
Wilson 9 for 13 tonight, 80 yards. So back to the 7-yard line for the 2-point conversion attempt. Jaguars are coming. Wilson unloads, incomplete for Champlin. So they don't get the 2, but they did go a dozen plays, and they got the touchdown. Mike Boone a recent pickup at running back. And it's 14-6 Miami in the third.
Cast grainy pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Willie Gay Jr. during the timeout. They got a dance mix playing on the PA, and he is having fun. That entire Dolphins sideline for all these kickoffs now. Every player is up. Nobody is sitting on the bench. This is something new this year. Like seeing those players supporting their teammates. There's everybody up for the kickoff. After Zach Wilson took him 12 plays, 65 yards. This is Kevin Harris on the return. Across the 30 and to the 35-yard line.
You know, we talked to Mike. He said, "Hey, look, this isn't something that we're doing just during the preseason. You look at it's going to be all season long. You know, getting those guys up. And I think those guys are willing participants. You know, they want to embrace the special teams as a big part. Look, it's a big part of the football team. Oftentimes they go unnoticed, but you know, they want to make sure that they know that they're part of the team. Look, that's an excitable sideline down there. We've seen it a number of times during the course of this preseason.
That is for sure, especially last week when Ethan Robinson got that great game-clinching interception. Whole team was out there like it was a Super Bowl win.
I almost thought there was 30 players on the field by the time he crossed the goal line.
Well, there was, yeah, you're right. There's Willie Gay Jr. Had a really good camp. You talk about a chip on the shoulder. We spoke to him in Chicago. He said, "Why Miami? They're the only team that wanted me." They got to pull him back.
The get-back guy's got to give him. He's just going to walk back up. The guy that's got the worst job right now is the get-back guy with Willie Gay down there.
Played for the Chiefs and then last year with the Saints. Can go inside, outside at that linebacker position as well. They get the run there to Grayboy, the undrafted free agent, a couple of yards short of the first down.
Yeah, Derek McClendon had to get upfield there. I mean, he's one of those guys that's fighting for a spot, and you know, pass rushing. He's a really great pass rusher. You can't play the run like that and make the team.
All right, it's third and short. This is Willie's time to get everybody fired up. Jordan Brooks looks like it's a playoff game down there.
Jordan looks like he wants to get in there and play now. They give him the night off.
Yeah, he got a little nicked up in the joint practice with the Jaguars, so they said, "Hey, let's wait till the regular season." Up the middle, and that's a first down and a few more. Murphy trying to bring him down. Jackson able to get into Dolphin territory.
Yeah, it looked like they had it bottled up, and somehow he slid out there and was able to get some valuable yards. The middle's good, but another missed tackle, and then you get a guy with momentum. It's hard when you're going sideways.
Patrick McMorris, one of those, a pick last year at a Cal, trying to make this team in that safety position. Cam Smith now in the game at corner for Miami. Little play action. Hennigan out in the flat. That's a completion. And then McMorris unable to haul down Morris, the tight end. So a gain of about 8.
You can't just come up random and jump. You've got to kind of plant your feet, give yourself a two-way go. Even if you give an extra, a tackle like that gives them an extra 4 or 5 yards. Just can't do it.
Pressure here. Hennigan buys some time. Lofts one downfield, incomplete. Too far for everybody. His receiver Cam Camper was the intended man.
There was McClendon coming around the corner again. He can rush the passer. You know, we've heard it a couple times. They say he may be the best pure pass rusher on this team. You know, he's another one of those guys. Said, Dave, what are you doing here? He said, no one else wanted me.
College ball at Florida State and in Colorado. He's on that practice squad last year. There's that strength at that edge position. So you look at Chubb and Chop and Jalen Phillips. Now another pre-snap flag comes in.
Delay of game offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So the delay backs him up by 5. Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson waving at somebody over there. They're having fun, that's for sure. All the players and Coach Mike McDaniel talk a little about more, resolve to handle adversity that comes with the season.
I think we talked a lot about that with him, and I think he feels like he's got a team that you're going to have some slumps, you're going to have some problems during the course of the season, and you're just going to have to fight through them. And I think he said he's confident that he's got a team right now that's got the resiliency and the attitude to do this.
McClendon made the tackle there.
Yeah, they're all out there, all those defensive guys.
There's Chubb, there's Chop, there's Phillips. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So the Jaguars will punt from the 47. They could have tried one with Little.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in his range, about 65. They decide to punt it. A.J. Henning is deep. Henning will fair catch inside his own 15. That's where the Dolphins, up by 8 points, will get the football back. Earlier tonight, we asked you to participate in our trivia question brought to you by Sell to Bobby. The Miami Dolphins have made 5 Super Bowl appearances, winning twice, including the perfect season. 28 teams have made at least 1 Super Bowl appearance. Can you name the 4 teams that have never been in the Super Bowl? Bo Camper, the Dolphins have played 2 of them in the preseason.
Let me say Detroit.
You got that one?
Let me say Jacksonville.
That's 2.
Let me say Seattle.
No.
No, Seattle. Well,
no.
I'm out.
You got Houston and Cleveland. So you got half.
I forgot the misery of Cleveland.
Yeah, Ernest Biner.
Yeah,
come on, sorry, Browns fans. That's so close, right? The fumble, oh my goodness. The drive.
Bernie Kosar, always
John Elway.
Lamenting.
They came close. All right, Quinn Ewers is now in at quarterback for the Dolphins off a solid game last week in Detroit. Under pressure here, and he will go down on his first attempt to go back, and a little shaken up after getting the sack was Ethan Downs.
Yeah, I got no time at all in that.
Now, in case you're wondering, a dozen teams have never won a Super Bowl. So that would include, Atlanta and Tennessee and Chargers and
Jacksonville.
Oh, and the Buffalo Bills.
Oh. Now you're getting.
I couldn't resist.
Look, 4 times in a row. This is the face match.
And the Jets haven't won one since they took the horse and buggy to the Orange Bowl way back when with Joe Namath.
That's right.
It's been a minute. Pre-snap penalty here on the Dolphins.
I'm not so sad about that one.
No, not at all.
Jets, no. In fact, it kind of makes me smile.
We really haven't come close for the most part.
Number 66. Half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
That's on Braden Daniels, and they really haven't come close to Jets in the 55 years since they haven't made it.
No.
So. Well, they thought the Aaron Rodgers thing would work out. That did not. Now they've got Justin Fields. Dolphins will see them in a month.
I think they're
preseason or regular season Monday Night Football.
I think the closest they got was when we beat them down here when we still cry about that muddy field.
Well, you guys took the hoses out and you made it all muddy at the Orange Bowl, and A.J. Dewey had the big game, 14-0 Dolphins.
I talked to.
This is Shanklin with a big hole, gets to the 15.
I talked to Marty Lyons when we were up in New York last week. He says, he was always talking about the game and all the, the mud, and it took Freeman McNeil and Wesley Walker out of the game, and oh, by the way, Richard Todd threw 3 interceptions to his best receiver.
A.J. Dewey. What a day for A.J. Now, remember the Jets came close with Parcells. They had that lead at halftime against Denver.
Yeah.
But other than that, not much doing. Dolphins, after the opener against Indianapolis, 3 in a row inside the AFC East. Here's Ewers over the middle. Complete. Armstrong's got the first down. Andrew Armstrong, the undrafted free agent, hauls it in from the 7th-round draft pick. Ewers, a gain of 21.
Yeah, Ewers, comfortable in the pocket. They want to throw to that spot. The receiver just making his break. You can see it right there. Comes into the picture and makes fun. That's both of those quarterbacks, Zach and Ewers, have talked about how you got to throw somewhere where you see the safety, you don't see the receiver, and it's kind of uncomfortable. But you see how it works when they get the timing down.
Yeah, had some of the elements of Texas of this Dolphins offense for Ewers. Dolphins like his demeanor. He's a cool customer, in the words of offensive coordinator Frank Smith. Champlin on the carry again, along with Boone, picked up once, Achane went out of the lineup and a needed running back.
His old team, Texas, ranked #1. I think it's the first time that they've been preseason #1.
Yeah,
a long history.
College football getting underway. Next weekend here at Hard Rock Stadium with Dolphins off. Big game, Miami, Notre Dame. Fins fans, whether it's the tropics or your neighborhood, nobody tracks South Florida weather like the CBS News Miami Next Weather team. Always tracking, always alerting. Next Weather only on CBS News Miami.
We've got a lot of those storms just kind of lurking around out there these days.
Keep them it's like an offensive line. Push it away.
Stiff arm. Just keep that stiff arm there.
Yes, off the line of scrimmage. That's it. Ewers goes 6'2", 209. A couple of touchdown passes last game against Detroit to Theo Weiss Jr. Champlin on the catch there for the Dolphins.
He always looks calm in the pocket. Looks calm getting in and out of the huddle. Calm in the pocket, and I think that's one of the things they liked about where he's at. And good chance, they got a good chance now to develop two good quarterbacks, as they move forward.
So the Dolphins will punt here on 4th and 2. Dorian Singer is back for the Jaguars. Jake Baelish and everybody waited out. And that's it. 1 quarter to go in the 2025 preseason. Dolphins only home game tonight, and they've got a 14-6 lead going to the 4th. In the preseason, have a 14-6 lead going to the 4th quarter. Steve Goldstein, Kim Camper, Mike Cunha, our entire crew bringing it to you all preseason long. Appreciate you being with us in the month of August. Jake Bailey. And Singer will let it go, and it just wouldn't sit down. So that's a touchback.
Steve, this is a tough time. This is a tough time for all these players. Not only have they been here for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever they're on training camp, but they come in and after the draft, you got off-season conditioning. So these guys have been here for a long time, and whether you're a starter or a backup guy, you got connections with these guys. And it's tough to see all these guys leaving, and it's going to happen this week.
The Price is Right is coming to South Florida for a casting call. Join CBS Miami at Toyota of Hollywood this Friday to audition for your chance to be on the show. No purchase necessary. Go to cbsmiami.com/contests to learn more. I feel like you'd be pretty effective at The Price is Right.
I would like to give it a try.
Yeah.
I'd have to find some kind of a costume that would make me stand out. You know what I mean? Because you got to stand out in that for them to call you down, right?
Well, no, this is The Price is Right. So you don't have to wear the costume.
Oh, you don't?
You just got to know, like Kim, how much is that laundry detergent? Stuff like that.
Oh, it's that one. Yeah. No, I don't want to do that.
All right, well, that's
I want to spin the wheel. I want the one where you spin the wheel.
No, that's not.
No?
No. So, well, that could be one of the things if you win and then you get further. But, yeah.
Well, there you go.
But there's a bunch of games. You know, you don't know which one. But first, you gotta
get there.
The price.
Yeah. No, I know.
Without going over.
Yeah, but you got to wear something that they bring you down for. Isn't that the come on down deal?
No.
No.
Yeah, but you don't. Folks, it appears that if you want to do that at Toyota of Hollywood, you have one less person to compete with, because Kim Bokamper will not be.
Won't be participating. But again, let's get back to this. So these guys have been here together long, and they've formed bonds. And you know, you may be the starting, safety, and one of your best friends is the guy that's going to get, is not going to have a chance. And it's tough on both sides of these guys. It's so much work, so much time together, so much bonding, so much effort, so much disappointment, so much joy in playing the game. And for a lot of guys down here, it's all going to come to an end tonight. Obviously, some of them are going to go to other places. Some of them may go to the UFL or do something. But for the most part, some of these guys, maybe the last time they put on football pads.
Well, Channing Tindall with a good hit there to stop the Jaguars from getting the first down, but he is unable to get off the field on his own power. And Tindall's one of those guys hoping to make the team, but right now he's down.
Clock operator, please set the play clock to 30 seconds.
And he shakes it up, shakes it off. Good to see him on his feet.
He kept, that's just a lesson in football. You keep your head up, and you may get dinged a little bit, but it's not going to be the worst
play
case.
Play clock operator. Oh, at 30. Good, thanks.
So
Tindall off on his own power. Good to see.
So Tindall's been around for a long time. Third round draft choice out of Georgia, I believe. And he's been playing special teams and just hasn't been able to crack that starting lineup.
A.J. Henning sent back. He'll get a chance. Here's Henning. 25, near the 30. A flag over on that far sideline. And it's probably a player that went out of bounds where the flag was. And the referee's talking it over.
A lot of conversations in these games, aren't they?
Yeah, they're trying to get regular season ready.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 31 on the kickers. That penalty is added from the end of the run. It'll be first down.
All right, it was something out of bounds on Lovely, unsportsmanlike, and the Dolphins will move forward. Nice high-speed connection is delivered by AT&T Fiber. Hyper-fast speeds for everything you need. Let's get to Mike Cunha.
First play of the game, I look out there, see yourself, Chubb, Zach Sealer, Chop Robinson. How good did it feel out there? Because fans are pretty jacked up about that.
Oh, man, it's exciting. Like, the group we have, like, really the depth that we have, but especially, that group, bringing Judon in. Like, we have a lot of, depth, like I said, and just a lot of talented guys. So it's fun to be able to mix things up and, be on the field with them boys, for sure.
I've heard a lot this offseason about how close this team has gotten. But when I watch you guys, like Derek McClendon gets a sack, and you guys are running out there on the field, how close is that group exactly?
I mean, we're extremely close. We spend a lot of time in the facility, outside of the facility, on the practice field. We have a lot of love for each other when we play for each other. And I think that's a really important thing with a team. So, yeah, I mean, seeing guys like D-Mac ball out, Cam, Grayson, even like Chop, like the guys in our starting groups, it's just fun to be out there with them boys. And I think the closer the bond that you can have with them, the tighter of a team that you're going to be.
Last one, how excited are you for week one?
I'm so excited for week one, man. It's been a long couple of years, and I'm just excited to get out there. I feel great. Excited to, this team in particular. I mean, we just have such a great group of guys. I'm just excited to go out there and show everybody what we've been cultivating this whole time.
You have snacks. You didn't bring me a snack. I'm mad at you now. We'll toss it back up to the studio where they have snacks, Jalen. Thanks so much.
Well, it doesn't matter, Cunha. Jalen Phillips doesn't have a healthy snack. You're not going to have it anyway, so there's no difference there.
That's right. Jalen Phillips, I'm just so happy for him. I mean, this guy, two seasons cut short, no fault of his own, and he's come back stronger every time. And look, the resilience for a guy to go through that, I mean, that's been tough. You stay away from these teams. You want injured reserve. You're just kind of like, you know, you're not even you're a part of the team, but you're not. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. Again, he came back stronger than he was last year. And with Chubb on the other side, that team. But you know, the other thing about Jalen Phillips is, you know, he's one of those. He's a quality guy. He's one of those guys that's a Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate. One of those kind of guys, a community guy, a guy that's, you know, he's good with everybody. He's good with people, and he wants to be around people. So you know, I'm just hoping the best for him, and he can have a healthy season and just see how good he can be to get a full 17 games in. And
so big for that Dolphins defense. That front seven, if they're healthy, there's a lot of versatility and a lot of talent there for coordinator Anthony Weaver. Ewers, after the first down completion of Boone, goes down on the sack.
Yeah, they protected him early, but he had nowhere to throw the football, and you know, that's what the result is.
Kiwi Rose got there. Played with Dolphins wide receiver Andrew Armstrong at Arkansas, both undrafted free agents. Armstrong in there now at receiver. Boone on the carry. And, you know, you talk about the starts. You know, we spoke with Mike McDaniel, and, you know, he even noted, hey, those first 2 years, remember, they started the season 3-0. Very good start since Mike McDaniel took over as coach. Of course, last year, 5 days into the season, Tua Tagovailoa went down, and things went downhill from there.
Yeah, and then look, everybody knows that, and I think everybody on this team, especially on the offensive side, knows they've got to protect Tua. You know, the offensive line has to. The fullbacks, the people that block for him need to do it. But Tua needs to protect himself. And so they've got to figure out a way because, you know, well, like we saw last year. And then look, I can say this about just about any team in the National Football League. You lose your starting quarterback, well, it's an uphill climb from there. You know, very few teams have been able to pick up the, you know, the 49ers did it with Josh Purdy. And but you know, it shows the importance of, and I think Tua is the guy that I think has learned most of that. He's got to be there. He's got to be available for this football team. And he talks about it every time you run across him saying something. So I think if he's in here for 17 weeks, I think this team's got a pretty good shot.
Fair catch called inside the 20. That the Jaguars will start with 9.5 left in the fourth. Steelers, Jalen Phillips, while Mike Cunio is hitting him up for snacks on the sideline. You look at that Dolphins edge position, they're absolutely loaded there.
Yeah, you look, those guys all stay healthy. You're going to put a lot of numbers up when it comes to sack. And, you know, bringing in Matthew Judon, the way, the 4-time Pro Bowler, 37.5 career sacks from him. And he's actually had, like, his last 2 years, he was injured 1 year, you know, had 5.5 sacks last year. Not Judon-like. I know he wants to make more hay this time, but and like Jordan Phillips said, Jalen Phillips said, you can mix these guys around, and you know, there's a lot of opportunity to get in the backfield, create. Look, even if you're not getting them down, creating havoc that causes problems with the quarterback. And then those inside back, I think this front seven on this defense to me is really is probably the best unit on this team on both sides of the football. And I think it's going to be with Anthony Weaver, I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to be very effective all year long.
And he's got a lot at his disposal. Certainly Chop Robinson, you know, the rookie last year, really came on as the season went along, and they kind of rebuilt that defensive line in the draft, led by Kenneth Grant, the first rounder. There's a big stick, and it's broken up. B.J. Adams, the undrafted free agent from Central Florida.
Yeah, and he's puffing up a little bit. He should. That was a nice hit. Boom. Right there. That's how you tackle. That's how you get the. That's one of those. Look, you're probably not going to be on this team, but you got that on tape. something for someone to look at.
Patrick Herbert, the tight end. Intended receiver is Chubb and Phillips still engaged. Here's a look at Adams. Physical corner, and we saw that ability there.
Timeout, Miami. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
And with 8:51 to go, the Dolphins will take a timeout on defense. You know, it seems, Bo, like it's pretty set at corner with Storm Duck, Jack Jones starting, maybe Jason Marshall Jr. in the slot. But I'll ask you this. Tuesday's the cut-down day.
Yeah.
Hard to put a number on it, I know, but do you think there will be a number of players that the Dolphins bring in that may be on the roster in 2 weeks in the regular season that aren't on the roster tonight?
Well, I think the majority of the roster is set. I think they're happy with who they got. I think if there's movement, if it's going to be like, I think it's going to be in the secondary. You know, maybe try to get somebody maybe is a little bit better than one of the guys they have. But you know, the one thing they've talked about is they're happy with the technique they're playing. They're happy with the way they're working. But I think there's a little bit of a talent drop off from where we've been used to being. You know, you lose a guy like Jalen Ramsey, you lose some of those guys. You know that it's hard to replace them. But I do think there's going to be somebody there in that secondary, maybe one or two guys that aren't on this field right now.
Well, unfortunately, Asante is down for the Dolphins. That's Eugene Asante, undrafted free agent out of Auburn, the linebacker, in discomfort here in the fourth quarter. They're able to get off the field, but, well, he was emotional coming off. They'll look at him on the sideline. Those guys trying to either make this team or make another team, and a late preseason injury. Here he is walking off the field. You see the emotion, Bo, and you see the teammates going over to him.
I said Terrell Dotson kind of go back where the 10 is and kind of, you know, want to be there when he came by, and it's tough. Like I said, it's those relationships you make. They're lifetime relationships, and you hate to see it happen. So, you know, we've been talking about the team and how close it is. Look at the sideline. Look at all the veterans that are standing on the sideline in the last 8 minutes of a third preseason game. They're still engaged. They're still you know backing up their guys that are on the field. They're engaged with them, and you know it's kind of what we've been talking about all preseason with the bonds and the caring that they have for the other players on the team is you can see it right here, right now.
Well, Mike McDaniel feels that, this team has grown. They're more emotionally mature to handle, adversity. And by the way, in training camp, McDaniel has intentionally put some adversity in front of these guys. Just, it's going to be some struggles. Let's see how they respond. So interesting by Mike McDaniel, who, by his own admission, is always evolving. He's always changing.
Yeah, we talked about that before the first preseason game, and he talked about just his process from last year to this year, going over everything he did, so what he liked what he did, what he didn't like what he did, things that he wanted to improve on, and I think we've seen an improvement, and hopefully that improvement plays out well, especially in you got a really great opportunity in the beginning of the season with the way the schedule sets up for you to get off to another quick start like you talked about, for the couple years prior to last year. And so that opportunity's there for them. They've just got to go out there and take it.
Now you start in Indy, then the Thursday at Buffalo, then a couple of home games, the Patriots
and the Jets
to finish up September. McDaniel in his fourth year as head coach, 19th season overall in the NFL. Short gain there on first down for the Jaguars. There's that early season schedule. 2 of them at home. But first up, you go to Indianapolis, and I feel like, Bo, we've talked about this. If you're going to be a good team, you're going to be a playoff team. That's a game you got to win.
No doubt. That team, they don't know what their quarterback situation's in flux, and and they're a team that they're certainly they're an NFL team, and there's that every given Sunday, but that is a team, and then. Look, New England's gotten better. I think New England's gotten better in the offseason. They had some good free agents, had a good draft, bolstered the offensive line a bit. And the Jets, the Jets they got a lot of good players in that team. They just can't find them. They haven't found a way to get them working. So, but that opportunity, when you look at that, it is certainly there for you in the making.
So closing in on 5 minutes to go in the preseason. Jaguars now in Dolphins territory with a 3rd and 3. Seth Hennigan remains in at quarterback. Throws complete, and that's a first down to Herbert. Tackle made by Cameron Dantzler, who was picked up this week by the Dolphins at defensive back. First time as Mike McDaniel's head coaching career, he'll have the same defensive coordinator for a couple of years in a row, and Anthony Weaver.
Yeah, the other thing I'm looking forward to is watching this offensive line, and like I said earlier, that you hope that Austin Jackson's available to come back for for the opener and be healthy, and to see that off, because I don't think Tua's been able to play behind what I perceive this offensive line to become. Obviously Savaianaya's got to he's got to get his feet underneath him, but Ball's great. So that whole offensive line to me will be his best chance, and if they can work out, it's just another step to make it a little bit better for Tua, a little more time in the pocket, and you get those 2 receivers running down the field and the guys that are backing them up. There could be some good things coming. Then we got to see the tight end situation, and see what Darren Waller is. We haven't seen him do very much at all, and they're going to roll the dice and just bring him out on day one, on week 1.
There's the starting offensive line. It's funny you talk about McDaniel. He says Savaianaya is one of the top 5 most focused players he's ever coached. He told us yesterday. Of course, I had to ask, so who are the most focused? He took a wild answer. He said London Fletcher, John Lynch, Matt Ryan, and Tua is right up there. But I'll tell you what, if those 5 are healthy, that unit with the coaching this team has, they've got a chance to be effective.
I got to think 6 weeks in, Savaianaya is going to start showing you what they expected when they moved up to draft him.
Flag comes in as Stilley chased Hennigan out of bounds. Flag in the Jacksonville backfield.
Holding offense number 66. 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Here's a look at the O-line, and Waller is in uniform tonight, went through warm-up, so when you're speaking about the tight end position, Julian Hill also did not play tonight. But it's going to be real interesting to see, Darren Waller, there's a lot of talent, a Pro Bowl guy, and, out of retirement, they made the trade with the Giants. It'll be real curious to see what he brings to the table in 2 weeks in that opener against the Colts.
Well, so your tight ends are going to probably be Darren Waller, Jonah Hill, Farrell Brown, and Tanner Connor. I think that's what it's going to end up being. And Connor has shown some flashes in the preseason, but you'd like to see him be the kind of guy that they expect to be athletic. And but Waller, you look at him. He's been away from the game for a while, and I tell you what, that guy looks like a specimen. I mean, he's built for the game. He knows how to play the game. He's known how to be successful. And just see if he can shake that rust off of being out for a little bit over a year and maybe a half.
And the connection there as Harris gets to the 30 with 2.5 to go. He had those big years with the Raiders with Frank Smith, who is the Dolphins offensive coordinator. And Frank Smith, thinks the world of him. And it's one of those kind of, hey, if he can even come close to getting back to what he was, what a weapon, because you already have a lot of weapons on this offense.
I've seen a number of times during this preseason where Frank comes over and talks to him one-on-one. And who knows what they're talking about, but certainly it's
intercepted. Saunders Jr. on the move. He's at midfield. Saunders Jr. to the 35.
To the sideline. There you go.
And for the second straight week, the Dolphins defense comes up with a late pick. It was Robinson last week in Detroit. It's Saunders Jr. tonight here in Miami. And the team on the field celebrating.
That's a nice pick right there. Steps in front of the ball. Gets up in the air.
Tonight's Fan Cam is presented by your South Florida Audi dealers. Oh, she's got the pom-poms out after the 51-yard interception return by John Saunders Jr. Only home game of the preseason for the Dolphins. Next time they'll play here at Hard Rock is the home opener. Week 2 against the New England Patriots. Saunders Jr. with the interception late in the game. He's a guy to keep an eye on. Undrafted free agent Anthony Weaver's a big fan. He used to watch tape of former Miami Hurricane great Sean Taylor. And a good play for him late in this game. Jacksonville will use a timeout. Here's the pick again. Saunders Jr.
Yeah, really nice.
Timeout, Jacksonville. That's their second
About
timeout.
this time, half that team's getting ready to burst onto the field from the sideline. Then they pinned him against the wall.
Yeah, Savai Naya and everybody getting down there for the celebration. They are jacked up by the pick. Stay with CBS Miami after the game. It's our post-game show. You'll hear from Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, the post-game press conference, and we'll have player interviews. We'll tell you about the Junior Dolphins' support of flag football. Bo and I will break things down from the booth, and we'll take a look ahead to the start of the regular season. All coming up on the CBS Miami post-game show. Quinn Ewers will throw. Shamplin at the 30, 25, and barrels his way to a first down, and that'll do it. Jaguars only have the one timeout left. Gain of 14 yards. And the Dolphins will get the win. Their only home game of the preseason. So they will finish the preseason 2-0-1. With the tie coming in game 1 in Chicago. All things being equal, of course. Ewers will throw again. And complete again. Theo Weiss Jr. who had the 2 touchdowns in the game in Detroit.
They have that connection, right? That's a nice catch.
Now Weiss Jr. undrafted free agent, the rookie. Ewers, the 7th round pick.
Got a connection all training camp.
Now a timeout.
Timeout for review.
Mike McDaniel barking from the sideline. Well, how do you feel, Bo, after watching training camp, watching preseason games about the court? Hopefully it doesn't come to fruition.
Right.
But the quarterbacks behind Tua, Wilson and you.
Yeah, I like it. You know, obviously Tua, you know, you want to have him in there the whole season. But I think, you know, I think they're stacking up right. You know, I think that you've got, you know, Zach Wilson. He's got the experience that he's got just being in the league and going through what he's gone through. I think that's going to be valuable for him. And I think Mike McDaniel is the coach that can really kind of get him rehabilitated to a point. And then you got a young guy in Ewers that seems to be a promising quarterback that he can sit back and learn. And so I think it stacks up the way if you wanted to design a way of getting some young quarterbacks involved. I think it's a pretty good setup with some guys that are really want to get better and really want to be a part of a good football team.
Weiss Jr., one more catch on what looks like the final play of the 2025 preseason. Now let it wide out, a 14-6 Dolphins victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars tonight at Hard Rock Stadium. Liam Cohen, rookie coach for the Jaguars. Kind of a similar path as an offensive coach, coordinator, and play caller is Mike McDaniel, getting his shot with the Jaguars this year. And Tua Tagovailoa, all smiles after tonight's game. Fins up, says the coach to the fans. The preseason is over, the regular season is next, as is our postgame show. Stay with us.